We got a little different project for you today. We're going to be working at my home church. We got some electronics work to do in here. We're going to put in a new TV. But while we're at it, I realized that there's just a lot of unique things about this church and about this area that you might find interesting. The building is quite unique. The project is interesting. Why not? You guys might enjoy this. Stay tuned. I thought it'd be good to start just by showing you a little about the trip to get there. I just left my mom and dad's house and I've taken one right turn. And this is Randall's house that you can see here. It's about a mile away. We did some work here last spring where we put in a water line. We used Casey. All's going well with the water line. Happy with that. We continue to head north about another half a mile or so. And in the distance, you can see the barn that Christy and I have. Well, again, the one that's not really a barn anymore. It's just termites holding hands. And this is our property line here with that ditch. See, you've got some there in the bottoms, and there's a little strip here by the road that we don't own. Our property line is out there just a few feet, probably 100 feet maybe, 80 feet, I don't know. Now, if you've been around any sort of farming community, you hear us use the term the bottoms. Gonna go to the bottoms. At least that's in this area. And if you notice here, we're driving down a little hill. On the sides over here of the road, you can see what we would call a bluff. It's probably 25 feet of elevation change. But at the bottom of this bluff, it's flat. And this we would refer to as creek bottoms. I don't know how well you can see it out there, but there's a bluff in there, or a fairly steep hill, that takes us from what we call hill ground to bottoms. Now, this bottomland is very rich in fertility, but oftentimes, like this land right here, it floods very easily. So it's very hard to make money growing crop on it, even though it's some of the most fertile ground around. Now, in this example, this is what we call Sugar Creek bottoms, because we're coming up on Sugar Creek. Now, one of the challenges we have at the church here is that this road is in the bottomland and it floods very easily. And so the road is not in very good shape. There's you might say an easy solution or an obvious solution to fix this, and that would be to elevate this road. If we had a couple of big excavators, we could elevate this road in a few days, and of course you'd have to put all new rock on it again and get it all packed down, but it's just cost prohibitive. This road is maintained by what we call the road district. We have state roads, county roads, and road district roads. So the road districts are very small and the taxes come only from that small district. So essentially the only taxpayers are the farmers. So there's not much tax base to take care of this. They have some old equipment, but oftentimes they don't even have enough tax base to, pay the fuel for the equipment they have. So it's really hard in a small community where there's a small tax base to be able to have sufficient tax revenue to take care of roadways. And a larger project like elevating this road is really just out of the question. We did get some subsidies, I believe, to replace this bridge. When I was a child, actually all the way up till, 15, 20 years ago, there was a one-lane bridge here that wasn't wide enough to get equipment through. So it was very, very difficult. This is Sugar Creek. Now behind me, on your left, this portion of the building was built in 1916. It's the third building here on the banks of Sugar Creek. And that's kind of one of the church's little names or themes that they go by, the church on the banks of Sugar Creek. The first two buildings both burned. We'll show you some artifacts from the second building once we go inside. The addition here was put on in 1961. Now, my family first started attending here somewhere around 1918, somewhere in there. My grandparents, B. Cottrell's great-grandparents, my grandfather was born in 1901. He and his newlywed wife started attending here when they got married. So our family has been serving and working in this area, using this church building as a facility for worshiping God for, 100 years now. The church itself goes back to the 1840s. I'll have some more details on that inside. Okay, so we're inside now. It's a little messy because of our project, but I just thought I'd show you around a little bit. One of the most unique stories is about these stained glass windows. I had mentioned that the 2 earlier buildings burned. Well, the second building had these stained glass windows in it. While the building was on fire, some of the men of the church took these stained glass windows out. I don't know much more of the story than that. The fire must have been in another area of the building to start with, but they actually took these stained glass windows out, salvaged them, and they're now in this building. So they've been in here since 1916, and I think the previous building, I don't know if it was 1851, I don't know. That's kind of unique. Now, you can see that there's a drop-in ceiling here. Really not a very expensive ceiling, but I want to show you the original ceiling. We happen to be up in here today. It looks a little rough up in here, but this is a steel ceiling. It's been painted, of course, but it's quite ornate, especially for something out here in the country at that time. They eventually gave up on this ceiling. It was hard to keep it painted. It had horrible sound qualities. It was really hard to get decent sound in the building. You couldn't hear, but yet it was loud. It's kind of hard to describe. And they couldn't do anything to fix it. So what they've tried to do is preserve it the best they can while building a new ceiling under it. Now, when I say preserve it the best they can, there's some things they've had to do to make modifications over the years. But this ceiling would still be useful in the right situation if someone wanted to try to restore, probably not this size building, but you could use some of it. It's quite unique. And yeah, those are ladybugs, I think, and wasps on top of this suspended ceiling. So Tom and Randall, what are you guys doing up here?
We're trying to get the pedestal post, or whatever you call it, I think.
Yeah?
The ceiling television mount.
Oh.
Is that right?
Okay. So why do we need a television mount?
Hang our television from.
Oh,
We're going to just sit and watch television at church.
well, yeah. Why not? Football!
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to get us an antenna put up first.
Yeah. We are upgrading,
Yeah,
getting a little more computer friendly.
hopefully.
We're
able to-
replacing the projector.
It's a kind of a little projector.
Yeah. That's a older setup that doesn't do everything we need it to do.
Yeah, and it's getting dim and it's older years. Sort of like us, Tom.
And really appreciate having it here to use while we had it here.
Yeah, it's been a great
It
solution.
was very good.
But just like any technology, it's
It's
served its time and ready to move
now
on.
we're not been able to use some of the things that we needed to,
Yeah.
and so
And TV technology's got a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So we're able to use that now. We won't have to worry about the brightness nearly
Right.
as bad. It'll be
Right.
a lot easier for us to see. I'm holding you guys up. Go ahead.
well, we'll have to see if we can get that guy stuck up there.
Now you saw the walls on the outside, that brown clay brick. That's exactly the same wall that we have on the inside here. It's just been plastered. So we can't do anything along the outside walls as far as running cables outside. Even as I swing around here, those speakers are on the front. Someone has really worked hard to try to drill into those clay bricks, and they break real easily when you start to drill them. Once you start working with them, they don't stay together real well. So now recently they've done a little bit of a remodel back here. This used to just be a closet. They put a restroom in here, and they've decided to put a little media area. So we've been working on this media area. We put the shelf in last night. We're running cables all the way from the front to the back over the top. We decided to put another TV up in the back so that whoever's in front of the congregation can see what's going on the screen without twisting their neck. We just decided to make a party of it. You gonna join us here, Dad?
Yeah, I am. How you getting along? Getting about done?
Getting about far enough along I can take off and leave it with them.
Okay.
Oh, this is the initial test. This is a big deal. What are the chances? What are the chances? Ladies and gentlemen, grasshoppers and toadstools, I'm here to tell you a story I know nothing about.
Stand before you, so it'll not be behind you.
Okay, I got even that wrong.
A big black red cat.
Dad, how about you come up and tell that story?
Our front backyard, right over the Gilmore dead cat.
I believe it's working, Randall.
Yeah, it's working.
What do you think, Catriel?
I think you don't need to be any louder than you already are, so back away.
Hi, Troy. You hungry?
We're eating, so we're happy.
Hello. You enjoying lunch, Mom?
Oh, I've enjoyed it very much. Always good to be around family.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's always good to eat dessert. Delicious.
The HDMI video standard won't let HDMI travel that far. That's just too far. So what we've used is an HDMI extender, and it runs the HDMI signal over a Cat6 cable. And so we have that Cat6 cable going through the ceiling to the TV and then back here to the media room. We got the sound box here set up, and most of the cables, we made a hole here. We need to get a little better cover under here. But we push those cables up into the attic, over that false ceiling, to the TV, and to the 2 speakers in the front. Dad, I believe they're about to get her.
Looks like it. They got a few wires tied up yet.
I think I see Johnny up there, though.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work into our church picture, but then I guess it'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Johnny's going to fit or not.
Yeah, he goes to church once in a while, works on the churchyard.
Yeah. Well, guys, this one just about ate our lunch.
Yes.
Oh, but we're good.
We got it. We got it. Hey, I appreciate it. I hope this lasts for years into the future.
Amen.
You know, these guys are farmers, and you know what farmers can do? Just about anything they set their heads to, right?
Something like that.
It's a jack of all trades kind of occupation, and you've proved it again with this project. Dad, good to see you.
Well, it's good to be here.
Yeah, it's been a while since our viewers have got to spend any time with you.
Yeah.
You know, the last time they let me out on the combine, you should have been there.
Well, you know, I got my job taken away from me a couple days before.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we both ended with the same result.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard to get good help.
Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the old church building and kind of watching what we were doing here with some of our project. And, well, we thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. A lot of these graves date from the mid to late 1800s. This is the Midwest, so you're not going to see stuff in the 1700s here. Folks, I have to admit this is my favorite gravestone of all times. It's got both a husband and a wife's name on it. The husband was buried here in 1920. The wife was born in 1863, but it does not have the date of her death. It was possibly too expensive to come back in and chisel it on. I've seen that on several. Or it's possible that she's not buried here. I have really no idea. But I love the stone.